Human trafficking is an illegal clandestine movement of individuals by force due to various factors with traffickers who profit enormously from this inhuman activity. Trafficking of human beings is a global crime acknowledged by international organizations, namely the United Nations, International Organization of Migration, International Labour Organization, and governing bodies like ASEAN, European Union, as well as the U.S. Department of State Office. Human trafficking has turned out to be a plague, unceasingly victimizing women and children globally. It is a multi-dimensional threat and violates human rights and concurrently increases global health risks as it bankrolls the growth of organized crime and undermines the rule of law. Malaysia is tragically located by land and sea in Southeast Asia, hence it is famous for its destination amongst traffickers. It is a source and transit country for people to traffic women and children for the sole purpose of commercial sexual exploitation, harassment for hard and cheap labor at various locations and sectors. Most of these human trafficking victims are trafficked from nearby regions such as Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, Burma, Colombia, Vietnam, and as far as Bangladesh.
The definition of human trafficking, or also known as trafficking, specifically condition of forced prostitution and for men, women, and children who are in condition of forced labor. The majority of trafficking victims are foreign workers who migrate willingly to Malaysia from Indonesia, Nepal, India, Thailand, Philippines, Burma, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Vietnam in search of greater. Additionally, women trafficking is also known as modern day slavery, whereby the person are forced to stay and act against their beliefs, culture, and upbringing. Process human trafficking is Malaysian perceived to be a lucrative destination for its economic development, and the demand for cheap labor in various industries is high. Therefore, desperate men and women who look out for better living and ways to earn are deserved and fall as prey to immoral and inhuman traffickers. Some of these victims are smuggled in and they pay an hefty sum for their transportation mode, including fare and visa. Once they reach their destination without their knowledge, they are entrusted to different people and taken to different locations to work. Thus, smuggling changes to trafficking, and most of these victims are rescued during. Second is the factor that drives this crime is complex, underpins each other, and they encourage for this activity to be clandestine because of the demand is high and so is supply. The supply for victim is motivated by element of social, economic, and political instability in the origin country of the victim and the notion for a better living standard in other countries. In general, trafficking subsequently occurs from poorer to prosperous countries, and with modern transportation, communication, and technology as enabled the predators to exploit vulnerable groups of men, women, and children to be trafficked for substantial profits.
According to the United States Department of State, human trafficking is the fastest growing criminal business with estimated profit of 32 billion annually and ranks second to drug trafficking. It is a third largest organized crime on the global scale, operating from developing to developed countries. There are many kinds and forms of human trafficking that take place at various parts of the world, and a consistent character is the coherent abuse of vulnerable victims regardless of gender, age, religion, health, and most essentially the rights to be free. The most common ones are sex trafficking, bond labor, forced child labor, involuntary domestic servitude, and child trafficking, as well as organ harvesting in all the continents around the globe. Other forms include cultural trafficking, religious trafficking, forced marriage, and others. Trafficking of babies from newborns to above 1 year old also regarded as lucrative business and in high demand in Southeast Asia. In Malaysia, a baby is sold between 10,000 and 20,000 to childless couples or to different syndicates based on the statistics provided by the enforcement agency at the Secretariat of the Council for Anti-Trafficking in Person and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants, under the purview of the Ministry of Home Affairs Malaysia. From 2008 to 2012, a total 500 cases has been reported relating to various types of human exploitation. During the span of 5 years, around 3,000 victims of human traffickers managed to obtain interim protection order. These victims of sexual exploitation, forced labor, and involuntary domestic servitude, amongst others, to placed in enclosed shelter homes. Children are the most affected victims compared to men and women. From the year 2008 to 2010, about 74% of total victims rescued are children, followed by men at 7% and women at 19%. Trafficking victims are deeply affected emotionally and psychologically. Alleged traffickers take away everything from these victims, robbing them of their monies, passport, dignity.
Impact and challenge of human trafficking. The human trafficking issue has been acknowledged and linked to organized criminal groups globally, with earning estimation at 32 billion annually, where traffickers have created an international market for the trade in human beings due to its high demand and profit for commercial sex and cheap labor force. Human trafficking and smuggling activities have been blooming rapidly, replacing the trading of drugs and arms. Report to be the largest illegal lucrative business in the world, and this inhuman activity affects the sovereignty of the individual, society, and economy of a country. The impact of this crime on individuals is so immense that the victims are traumatized due to honor those physical and emotional abuse. Since these victims are cons and manipulated of their money and molded with that back at home, their families receive neither money nor news from their children. The families have no idea of their whereabouts and happening, leaving them in distressed situations. In addition, human trafficking activities reflect a negative image on a country, and evidently it implicates security measures on borders, the effectiveness of law affecting the tourist industry, and infuses politics and economic instability of a country. Such bad impression may impinge on bilateral relations with foreign investors and subsequently impede future. According to an enforcement officer, rescue victims have to go through an interview process to distinguish the real victims of human trafficking. Due to fear, the rescue victim and witness has give full cooperation during interrogation. In curbing this crime, the state is in dire need of a sound support system from individuals, but due to lack of awareness, it is a challenge for any government. Every issue like traditional organized crimes such as human trafficking, human smuggling, drug trafficking, health issues along with inflation, disease and epidemics, environmental distress and migration crisis, which has been categorized as a series of NTS issues, have great impact of the sovereignty of a state. The reality of security challenge facing Southeast Asian countries has not reformed significantly even after the end of the Cold War.
The definition of human trafficking itself indicates the threat and implication against humanity. By definition, the means used in trafficking a person forcefully by coercing, adapting, fraud and deception, being abusing with power and vulnerability of an individual, and be in control over another person for the purpose of exploitation. Such behavior indeed reflect the position of a person and the unsecure situation incriminating upon them. The nature of human trafficking itself is a challenge to human security which against the will of a person to perform an act or to do something. Trafficking cheap labor is a security concern not only for Malaysia but for few other destination countries, but to origin country the major problem is border security beside human security. Though the Malaysian government has stepped up with the 5-year National Action Plan to curb human trafficking, still there are a lot of avenues to improve, especially in creating awareness on this crime against humanity. The Tier 2 ranking earned and maintained for 3 years review that the MAPO Secretariat has to enhance their collaboration with civil society in order to have a holistic approach to combat this cruel crime. There are cases drag on for an uncertain period of time due to lack of evidence and confusion over witness statements, thus lead to a quarter where the perpetrators get away freely.
I hope this video has helped you understand more about human trafficking. Human trafficking is a crime that must be stopped to ensure there are no innocent lives suffering. But in order to achieve that, all bodies around the world must work together in seeking one common goal, which is to stop human trafficking completely.